Hi, my name is Jane Scarf, and I'm coming to you from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And my topic today is genetic discrimination. And I want to let you know that a woman by the name of Amanda Riding contacted us and said that she found that in the Federal Human Rights Act, they have provision for protection from genetic discrimination. And previously, we had heard from a number of doctors and virologists and people that have experience, scientific experience with vaccine, telling you that the method of process that they have developed with these COVID-19 vaccines is to alter the DNA through a process of changing the codes. And it's not an immunization, so they're not doing the standard thing that vaccinations do, which is give you some of the offending disease so that your body can develop immunity from it. This is one that's changing your body's reaction to it. And so technically, and this, don't take my medical statement. We're going to have a stand for the think tank in the next day or so that we'll hear from the experts talking about the medical element of it. That's not my forte. So just roughly speaking, your DNA is altered when you take this vaccine. So the act of treating people with the vaccine differently than the person without the vaccine is a discriminatory process and therefore a violation of the Human Rights Code in Section 2, where they have their list of protected items. And this would apply not to everybody, but it applies to a large number of people. It applies to everyone working for the federal government. So they've been flexing that, they're going to lay them all off if they don't get their vax. You can't do that. And they also have protection under the Canadian Bill of Rights as well, because they're federal. So that they're well protected. And then there's other privacy legislation that applies to them. And generally the right to informed consent is protected in the criminal code. Or, well, actually, I meant to say the Canadian Bill of Rights, but also there's protections in the criminal code for what they're doing, because they're using threats, uttering threats, criminal offense. They're coercing you to get you to do something that you don't want to do. So that's a criminal code violation. Also, extortion, and then there's inciting hatred towards a group, and that's what they're doing here. Many ads, like media ads and comments by politicians and public health people are claiming that it's irresponsible not to have a vaccination and that you're harming others by not having a vaccination, which is total nonsense anyway, because the vaccine, they even acknowledge, does not stop the spread. So what does one person having a vaccine have to do with endangerment to the other one? And before, with the masks, they were saying that people who were asymptomatic were the biggest problem, because no one knew to protect themselves from those people, and they would be walking around, spreading the virus. Well, now, theoretically, these vaccines are making people asymptomatic, and they're going around spreading it. So, their same logic doesn't seem to be of interest to them now when the tables are turned. But I don't even think I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not seeing any impressive research showing that it's even stopping the people from getting the COVID that have taken the vaccine. Now they're saying, well, it reduces the scope of the symptoms. But again, what does that have to do with protecting other people? If I don't want to vax and I'm taking the risk of getting a higher level of the COVID, it should be up to me how much risk I want to take. So there's no value, there's no protective value in forcing people to have vaccines. for other people. So there's that element as well. But what I meant to bring to your attention is this protection against genetic discrimination. It also applies to anybody that's receiving a benefit from the government, so pensions, or I'm assuming even if you're going to the post office, because maybe not, but definitely if you're on pension. And also it applies to any even private industry that is regulated by the federal government, such as airlines and airports and railroads, interprovincial trucking, Coast Guard. Actually, somebody just brought to my attention the cannabis production and distribution and selling is all federally regulated. So all those employees and even the owners are protected because federally regulated. So they can't be doing that in there. So that's another bonus. And there's many other industries that are also regulated. Somebody told me the other day that courier, like UPS, was federally regulated, but I didn't check it, so I'm not sure. But there's many other things like that. And then, of course, once that starts to move, people realize they have that and start filing complaints. Other people who aren't covered by the Canadian Human Rights Act are going to say, "Hey, oh, okay, I have somebody at my door, so I'm finished for